What's up, my YouTubers, and welcome to Prison Talk Tuesday. All right, so I have a few things to say for my intro first. One, the things I say in this video is not only the things based on my own opinion, but a few others as well. I will not be using names except for a few of my friends that I have made, but this is the raw truth, and so let's begin. What's up, my YouTubers, and welcome to Prison Talk Tuesdays. All right, I'm in my kitchen. I have you guys on my stovetop. And excuse the noise in the background if you guys do hear anything. The babies are having fun playing in their old toy room because I am in the process of cleaning out their toy room at the moment and getting rid of some of their toys that they don't play with and putting them in the shed. Anyways, so basically, I had organized my prison topics and I have no idea where I put my graduation speech. So I can't talk about that speech until I find that. Unless you guys don't want me to read my speech, but I personally would like to read my speech, but that's just me. Okay, so we're just going to dive into it. One, the lovely female prisons. Lovely, lovely female prisons. On October 6, 2024, we had some inmates that decided to not only pee on some items, but also had feminine hygiene products that were used stashed into blankets and old uniform shirts and stuff like that that were thrown into the bathtubs because we don't use bathtubs in prison. They used to a billion years ago, but we don't now. So yeah, luckily I was not part of housekeeping, and housekeeping had to clean it up. They also have a problem with sticking feminine products down toilets, in sinks. I mean, common things for prison and jail. But when you have items that were in a tub that have been there for we don't know how long, or we don't know if they were in somebody's trunk and then they just put them in the tub because they were getting out of prison, we don't really know. But that was fun. Well, not for me. I don't really care. But I mean, it was fun for the housekeeping crew to clean up. And the smell was just awesome. Anyways, let's see, what was my next thing? The church AC, church air conditioning donation. So, can I put you down, please? You're a little heavy. No. No. Okay, I'm going to switch it up. So, when Canary was being renovated and reopened up, we were promised that Canary was going to have air conditioning and heat for the winter, right? Well, that did not happen. I think I've talked about this a few times about how we've had fans. So a church kindly, I don't remember which church, but a church had kindly donated this huge window air unit for the day room, because our day room was one big open area, just with like a corner, like a quarter wall. Like, I mean, it was a full wall, but it was like only a quarter part of the room to divide a side with, well, not a side, I guess one side with the other side. Anyways, so it did help the day room. It did not help the dorms. And the dorms were really hot. They were supposed to fix the AC. I don't know why they couldn't or why they didn't. We heard several different stories that it was a freon. We heard different stories that the things were rusted out. I personally think that they just didn't want to. I have got to put you down, and I cannot stand here and hold you. So yeah, basically, when the church had donated all of this money to get us AC units, even for the dorms, because we were going to, supposedly they were going to put them in a window or something so the dorms could get cooler too. And the church found out that only part of that money was used for one AC unit in the day room. Now, Canary Unit does have their main building, and then they have like an outside trailer type of thing. That's where all the work release people live. Now, they had AC. They have window ACs. They're more like out on their own type of thing. They still have to come to the main building to eat lunch and like leave the prison system. but they have their own AC unit. They have their own stuff over there. So yeah, that was fun. The church was mad. Church was angry that they had raised all this money to help us out, and they don't want to do that anymore. It goes to show that there's a church apparently down the road that a lot of the work released people would be able to volunteer at and work and get like actual working hours, like being a secretary or sitting by the phone and doing stuff. Well, supposedly one of the ladies, I guess, who worked there a long time ago, something happened. I don't know if she was stealing from the church or, but no church was taking prisoners anymore, which is kind of sad because a lot of these women who would like to do work release, churches are a great source because they help those who are addicts or alcoholics stay clean and sober. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Another topic was how to. I might have actually talked about this before, but I'm not sure, so we're just going to repeat it if I did. How to transfer from classes, churches, grievances, etc. So if you are in the main unit prison and you want to go to Canary, you just put in a transfer form. You talk to your social worker. You talk to your the transfer. I can't remember her name. She's not very good at getting back at written things. You have to see her in person, and sometimes she's busy in her office. But if you can catch her, that's who to talk to about transfers. Or if you want to transfer prisons, you have put in a request to transfer prisons. In my opinion, if you want to transfer prisons, just keep putting transfers in constantly, just every single, not every single day, but like every single week until you hear something back. And always talk to your caseworker, social worker, whoever they are, and then bombard, just because keep up on top of it is what I'm saying. If you want to transfer from one prison to another, then keep on top of it because they are like out of control, overwhelmed with prisoners because they're renovating and Swannanoa is closed down. I don't know, as I'm recording this and making these videos, if Swannanoa had got renovated and had reopened up or not. As far as I know, Asheville is still kind of in the process of that hurricane cleanup, so I don't know. But same with churches. If you no longer want to be in a certain church group, you don't have to like transfer out. But if you are in the Canary unit and let's say one of the church groups is only at the main unit, you do have to get permission to go to that church group. Some of the church groups do come to Canary, but not all of them. So unfortunately, that is a kind of a sad thing. Like I was in Wicca, and Wicca does not come to Canary, and I would have to go change out and get strip search just to go to Wicca one day a week, and I just didn't want to personally. But that's just me. I could have, but you know, they are working on it. That's what they said. They say they're working on everything, but you know, they just don't have enough people to do both places right now. And then if you grievances, I know I've talked about this 1,000 times. Grievances are fun. So if you write a grievance, basically a grievance is a complaint on another inmate or officer, and we have wrote several. I shouldn't say we. I have not wrote. I think I wrote 2 grievances ever since I was there when I was still in the C dorm. But grievances, we have wrote several on the lovely officer that I love to talk about in Canary because she was randomly just PMSing and would write people up for no reason at all. And that's why we got her to step back, and they no longer wrote people up for just anything anymore. They actually gave you the choice of either being written up or doing like a work thing, like you would help out with the yard work or whatever. Because people were getting in trouble right and left for like tiny things. I have a crisis. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. And then there was a little glitch there for a second. But yeah. So that was grievances. Basically, when you write a grievance, they look into it. They find out if it's validating or not. And if it's not validating, I think either it gets dismissed or you get in trouble again. Like if you have a grievance, it has to be like a legitimate grievance. You can't just say, oh, this officer was rude to me one day. You have to have like exactly the date, the time, what they said, what they did, what the response was, what the other officers did. I mean, it's a long process for grievances. They do tend to, find me a string, honey. They do tend to, get back on grievances pretty fast at Canary, at least. The main unit, it could be forever. It literally could be forever. There was so many grievances going in at all times. I don't even think, I think 90% of the grievances that were written in this prison, about pretty much everything, were thrown out because the AC units were the biggest thing. The fans, because we had no AC, was a big thing. The sewers that were backing up, the showers and toilets that weren't working properly. The fact that 90% of the time we had to have pack outs because nobody wanted to work in kitchen, or if people were working in the kitchen, they were failing drug screens, so they got fired. Canteen, like, there would be days where the canteen worker just didn't feel like working. Well, she had to work, but I mean, like, she didn't feel like going to the canteen at a certain time, or by the time we got to canteen, it was, what was it? Code. So, but that's for a different day. Fire drills and tornadoes. Oh, this is a fun topic. So, lovely. I have no idea if all prisons do fire drill and tornado drills. I don't know. But if you have ever been to prison, please, male or female, if you've ever been to prison, please comment below if you guys, in your entire time there, have had a fire drill or a tornado drill. If you're in a tornado zone, of course. Because randomly, we would have, the fire alarm go off, and, or they wouldn't even say, like, they wouldn't even pull the fire alarm to, like, have a fake fire. They would just tell us to go outside, line up in twos and go outside because we're doing a fire drill. And of course, we were all like, okay, if this was a real fire, we would actually be running. And none of us wanted to go outside to waste our time for 20 minutes to 30 minutes to stand there and do nothing in the heat and the bugs. And I personally think they would do that just so they can go and see who's hiding items, or so they can go and, like, look through people's stuff while they weren't there. That's my personal opinion, is that they knew that they were searching for something, and how do you get everybody out to create a search on one inmate so we could pull them away later on. Yes. But basically, we would all go outside and we'd stand there for God knows how long. They would count us, and they'd count us a few times because for some reason, guards don't know how to count. All their numbers had to match up. Then finally, we would be let back inside. Tornado drills were different. Tornado drills, we only had, tornado drills were where, when I was in the C dorm, we had to go in the day room. We had windows on one side and a mirror on the other side with a wall with a washer and dryer. That's on our day room side. The other day room side had just windows on the wall, and then the where the mops and buckets were. So they would take us in the day room, say, stay away from the windows, and, like, hide underneath the mirror or something. Okay, common sense things. Duh, stay away from windows if there's going to be a tornado. And then in Canary, what did we do in Canary? I think they took us in the bathroom. I don't really remember Canary. I might have been in class for that one. I just know we had a lot of fire drills in Canary, but that's just my opinion. I think they were doing it because they knew somebody had something that they weren't supposed to have, and they had to figure out how to, do that. Oh, this is a funny story. So the closed house was on fire, sort of. So when I had first moved to the C dorm, we were, I think it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and we had just had our final count of the night, and we were almost asleep. And all of a sudden, the fire alarm went off in the C dorm, and we were just, like, rolling our eyes because we're thinking it's a fire drill. It's the middle of the night. Why would they have a fire drill in the middle of the night? But whatever. We come outside and there's smoke. We could smell smoke. Apparently, one of the dryers had caught on fire in the clothing house, and yeah, so they had to take care of that. And since our dorm, the C dorm, was like right, like our dorm was like, let's say right here, and the clothing house was like right behind it. So like it was literally like probably 100 feet away, maybe 200 feet away from the clothing house. So if that one actually went up in flames, it might building jump into us. But that was fun. Another time was when the storage house, we call it storage. It's the old dining hall that they use as storage now for like when we get our boxes in, they store them all in there. Supposedly that caught on fire once. And the only reason why we think, why else would anybody, comment below if you want to know why people start fires. I mean, I want to know your answers before I know your guys, I'm going to tell you. But we all believe that the fire was obviously purposely started because it was a distraction for people to escape. I mean, come on, it's prison. I mean, it's not the most secure prison. Let's be honest, it's really honestly not. I'm pretty sure that people have tried to escape and gotten caught or shot, but I don't know. I wasn't there long enough, and I didn't. I mean, I've heard some stories, but stories, it's prison. You hear stories all the time, and what you believe is what you believe. Unless you witness it yourself, then stories and rumors. But yeah, I think that's all for this week. Oh, transgenders and gays. So here's a big topic, especially in today's society. If you go to prison, in a female's prison or man's prison, and you are legitimately registered as a transgender, they will make exceptions for you to shower alone, if that is your request. I think it doesn't have to be a request. I think that's a requirement, just because if a male is claiming to be a female, but they still have the male parts, they don't want, an incident where, even if that person themselves is comfortable bathing in front of other females, if they have male parts, I don't think they are allowed to legally, but I have no idea. Obviously gays, I'm not even going to discuss that because that's kind of a common thing, but trans though, I won't say oddly. What's the word I'm looking for? Not oddly. It's not nice. It's transgender people in prison. I don't know about all other prisons. From what I've seen, I've only met 2 transgenders in this prison. They were there was one male who really wanted to be a female. We called him AJ. He was really really nice guy. I think he was in there for drugs. Really don't know. Really nice guy. He was taking hormone pills to become a female. He's not a, he's a frequent flyer. He comes in and out of prison a lot. He was caught with another inmate. So that was a big PREA charge. The other inmate, they were working in the canteen area, and that other inmate got fired. So he got that person fired, which kind of sucks for her, but hey. I personally, this is just my personal opinion, believe that some males say that they are transgender so they can go to a female prison, so they can do things with other females claiming to be gay, which makes no sense to me. That, okay, I get the fact that you're trying to say you're transgender, but then you're saying that you're gay. That's the part I don't get. But hey, I have no idea about the whole transgender thing and about like changing your actual physical body while you're in prison, if you still can do that, or if you're just stuck in whatever physical body you have in a female or male prison until you get out, unless you're a lifer. I just know that trans aren't treated mean by everybody. They're accepted, but they're not accepted quite as yet. We'll put it that way. Honestly, I think the trans, it really depends on your charge. I really do, because some of the trans that I've seen, I would not mess with them, like, as in, like, a person in general, just because not because of their charges, just because their attitude was very straight. I don't know how to say it respectfully. It's basically, they're too hard for me. I would not cross them type of people. They look like they've either one, been in prison, or had that lifestyle for a while. And then there's other ones like AJ, who is, who you would never think would be in prison because he's like this like really nice person. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I'm pretty sure that I could go on and on about the trans and stuff like that. Um, I think that's about it for this week as I'm looking at my notes. But I will try to find my graduation speech because I would like to share that. My very last few videos I'm going to do, I have, like I said, I read over 200 books, like 202 or something like that, give or take. And I'm going to list all of those out. So that way, if anybody wants to look up those books to read, I will talk about them in a little bit. So it's going to be kind of more of a book review, and then it will be a prison review. I don't know when I'm going to do that because that's going to be a long video. And then the best video is last. In my opinion, the best video is last. Just because we had some fun things that happened. But on that note, thank you for sticking with me to the end. Any questions, comments, thoughts, or concerns, you guys can list those below. Like I said, please comment if you have been to prison on the questions that I asked in this video because I really actually am curious myself. And if you know of any transgender people who have been to prison, what their experience was, if they themselves are okay with you talking about it, or if any transgenders see this video and want to comment on my video, please do because I am curious. But until next Tuesday, you guys. Oh, follow me on my other socials. I post Tuesdays. All right, bye. If you personally have been or know somebody who has been or is still currently incarcerated in North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women located in Raleigh, North Carolina, and would like to help do something about helping these women out, please like this video, comment below, and share this video. We need to be the voices on the outside to help these females. Please be kind to each other in the comments and stay awesome. Bye.